Well, good Wednesday evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on UpNorthLive Unscripted. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I know you folks out there who love fall weather are probably loving it out there today, because after a couple of days of very unseasonably warm temperatures and sunshine, we finally got a little bit of rain and some cooler temperatures. So, Joe, is this trend going to stick around a little while?
I wish I could say it is, but for a couple days. Yeah.
Okay.
We're not looking at a whole lot of rain. I mean, showers are already starting to wind down. The thing is, though, Maya, and I'm going to show you this is coming up next week again. It looks warm. You know, I even said this yesterday. I said, you know, I think we maybe are done with the 70s. We're almost to Halloween here.
Right.
And now it looks like we're going to get another little bit of a warm up next week. So.
Well, that can be nice for Halloween, though, because then all those kids dressed as Spider-Man don't have to wear a coat, hopefully, and everyone will know they're Spider-Man.
That's right. We'll see. Yeah, that is 8 days, just over a week away from that. But we are expecting kind of a chilly night tonight because the skies are going to clear out. We'll take a look at tomorrow, of course, and then look at into the weekend if you have plans, what to expect weather-wise a little later.
All right, thank you so much, Joe. Let's start off with our top story of the night. We are learning more about an alleged animal abuse case in Grand Traverse County. We know it involves 3 dogs, a cat, and a bearded dragon. And our Allie Baxter has been following this case today and has the very latest.
Maybe it's nothing, but maybe it's something. So we always encourage you to call.
An anonymous call is how an ongoing investigation by Grand Traverse County Animal Control led them to a home on Buttercup Lane.
Connections weren't necessarily made until like 21st.
Earlier this month, this dog was brought into Cherryland Humane Society. He was noticeably malnourished, which raised red flags for Cherryland staff, who then called animal control. Tuesday, Grand Traverse Sheriff deputies searched the Buttercup Lane home, where Jamie says they found
more animals that were in need of assistance,
including 2 dogs, a cat, and a bearded dragon.
We're all different entities, but we all come together and work for the best of the dogs and help these guys recover from these type of situations.
Now Mighty Mac, the dog who launched the investigation, rushes around the Cherryland lobby, eager to greet anyone who walks by.
Mighty Mac, like the Mackinac Bridge. He was shy, but he warmed up pretty quickly.
Mighty Mac came to Cherryland with damage to his esophagus.
We weren't really sure what was happening or what it was caused from, but with medications and slow eating and treatments, he's been able to gain 6 pounds since he's been in our care.
Staff point out that just like humans, each dog processes trauma differently.
Pretty amazing how resilient animals can be, even though they've experienced some of the most unimaginable abuse and neglect.
This isn't the first animal abuse case Cherryland and Animal Control have seen. It won't be the last either, which is why they share this reminder.
What a difference you can make by, if you see something, to say something.
And Allie is joining us live now from our content center with more on this story. So, Allie, are all the animals involved in this case, are they all at the Cherryland Humane Society shelter right now?
Only Mighty Mac is at Cherryland right now just because he was brought in so much earlier. The other pets that we know of that were taken into Animal Control's custody, they had to be taken to an emergency vet. So they came in with some of those same things that Mighty Mac had, where very malnourished, they were, at least like the dogs and the cats, they were losing their hair. It was just clear that they were being neglected. And so right now, or today at least, because this all just happened last night, they were taken to the emergency vet to be able to address some of their injuries first.
And do we know what will happen with these pets once they are hopefully fully recovered?
I believe most of them will end up going to Cherryland. That seems to be kind of the pipeline that happens. We obviously, sadly, have a lot of animal abuse cases that happen up here in northern Michigan, and the humane societies are kind of the next step as soon as the dogs or cats or even this poor bearded dragon end up going to the humane society after they're done at the vet.
And we know that 2 people have been arrested. Do we know what charges they're facing?
Yeah, so the fiance of the man who was first arrested, we know she is just facing animal neglect charges because she was living in the same home and was likely a witness to this. And then the man himself is facing intentional animal abuse.
Okay, and do we know when they'll be sentenced or arraigned?
I actually just checked on that. I looked up court records on my computer because, you know, in these situations, Maya, a lot of people want us to go ahead and say, say who these people are, put their names out there, justice can be served in some way, but legally we cannot say stuff like that right now until they are arraigned officially on these charges. But we do know their names to be able to look them up in court records to see when that could happen. As of right now, or just 10 minutes ago when I looked, those cases hadn't been updated in court records. So it's definitely something we're going to continue to follow to see how this progresses through the court system.
And it seems like one of the biggest pieces of advice that Naomi from the Humane Society has for people is if you see something, say something. So did she mention any warning signs that people can look out for if maybe this is happening at a neighbor's house or to pets that they know?
That's a great question, Maya. And one thing that was told to me is that even if you're questioning yourself of, maybe it's just, a skinnier dog, or maybe they're just going through a hard time and, I'm not in the house, I don't know exactly what the case is with these animals. They said they can always just do a check and just see, hey, is everything okay? And you can always anonymously report that to Animal Control, to the Humane Society as well. They talk to each other, they are in constant communication with each other to say, hey, this is what's going on. Can we maybe do a welfare check on this property to make sure, hey, everything's okay. And we want to make sure that all these animals are being taken care of. So even if there's, a little bit of doubt in your mind, like, maybe the animals are being taken care of, it's just maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me or anything like that, they say, always call just in case, because you never know, just like Naomi was saying there at the end, you never know the difference that you're going to be making. And that was definitely the case here for the rest of the pets that were in the home where Mighty Mac was, for someone to be able to bring him in and then for the anonymous caller to come forward and say, I know where he came from and there's other animals at risk as well.
So it sounds like really nothing negative can come from asking or reporting incidences like this. Either people go and investigate and realize that these animals are in poor conditions and then they're taken from the home, or people will go and say, nope, these animals are okay, but thanks for checking.
Yeah, exactly. And it's better to be safe than sorry. And I will say in the specific case as well, I did ask Jamie at Animal Control, because this is still an ongoing investigation, if they're looking from any feedback from the community who may be familiar with this certain case. And she said, yes, anything that, if you have any information that can help us with this investigation, if you're aware of these two that had these pets and you think you have information that would be important to share, please call Animal Control. She said a lot of times they're out in the field, so they're not going to be exactly in the office to pick up the phone, but to please call them, please leave a message with them. We'll have that in a web story online as well for that number for them.
Good to know. And Allie, any other information that you want to share?
I would just say I was super surprised to see how much energy and how much love and curiosity that little Mighty Mac still had, despite everything that he's gone through. And the staff at Cherryland told me that dogs process trauma just like humans do, where everyone just processes it a little bit differently. And they said, it's just such a victory for them to be able to look back at, the weight and how he was at the beginning of the month and see how he is now. And he's gained 6 more pounds, and they're like, it's, slow but steady. And luckily he is in their care and getting the help he needs. And soon, later down the road, when he's at full health, both mentally and physically, he'll be up for adoption.
That's awesome. It's amazing how strong and resilient pets are. It's inspiring, really.
Absolutely.
All right, Allie, thank you so much for joining us for more on that story. And as Allie mentioned, we do have much more information on our website, UpNorthLive.com. We have one more local story to share with you. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with the International 500 Snowmobile Race that takes place every winter up in Sault Ste. Marie. And now that track could potentially be used for much more than just the I-500 race. City officials are looking at putting money into it to upgrade the track so it can be used for events year-round. And our very own Daniel Zivian talked with some folks up in the Sioux to find out what they want to do with the track and what it will take to actually be able to host some different events.
For 1 week in late January, early February, the I-500 welcomes visitors from all over. But after that, the track, the facilities, this building sit empty. But all of that is about to change.
The City Commission has awarded a bid to Baco Construction, who will create natural levels in the hills for spectator seating, build a new roadway, and upgrade electricity. The Visitors Bureau says just about anything could be hosted on the track, including concerts, different types of racing, or even a carnival.
It'll create more jobs. It'll create an economic impact. You know, I-500 is a huge event. Engineers Day downtown is a huge event. But we could have more huge events up here. And the area that is out there, if it's got the electricity, if it's got the things that it needs, more people will have the idea to come in and do something.
Hoth says there's no exact timeline in place, but she knows construction won't start until at least the spring, so as not to interfere with the I-500 race. In Sault Ste. Marie, Daniel Zivian, Up North Live News.
And let's turn things over to some national news. So more Americans are underwater on their car loans, meaning they are owing more money than ever before. The National Desk's Janae Bowens explains the reasons for this troubling trend.
On TikTok, Saxon Reinhardt appears distraught with the caption, "Me getting in my car, knowing I owe way more than what it's worth." It's a growing problem, defined as having an upside-down car loan. According to car comparison site Edmunds, nearly a quarter of Americans are upside down on their auto loans. To make matters worse, the amount they owe is higher than it's ever been, at an average of close to $6,500.
Vehicle prices have gone up, so vehicles are they are more expensive inherently. But also what we saw just a few years ago, there was an inventory shortage, so people were paying above MSRP. And when you do that, you obviously owe a lot more money and you start to have a longer loan term. And, you know, a few years down the road, you decide you don't want the vehicle and now you go to sell it. And because you overpaid, you bought high and now you're selling at a much lower rate.
Edmunds' Jessica Codwell says a new car is going to cost you around $47,000, used $28,000. Higher interest rates are a factor too. The average for a new vehicle is 7.1%. For a used one, 11.2%.
We're seeing Fed rate cuts, but not necessarily it's going to make a massive impact to car buying. It certainly helps. But, you know, when you're at 11% on average, a half a point probably is not going to make or break things for you.
With higher prices and interest rates, experts think the number of people underwater is going to increase. Now, to avoid this, it's best to keep a car for as long as possible, at least for the entirety of your loan. Try to get a short term. Experts say 6 or 7 years is too long. I'm Janae Bowens reporting.
And let's take a look at our question of the day, which is related to this story. In the last 5 years, have you opted to buy a new or used car as your family vehicle? It's pretty split right now. 51% say used, 49% say new. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now to vote. You can also join in on the conversation. We have quite a few comments going on our Facebook page right now with this question. So I will read a few of those comments. Chris says, bought a new one in 2020, traded it in, and got a new one last month. Kathy says, yes, bought used in April. Mary says, I bought my lease when it was done, or when it was due, rather. Erica says, I only buy new vehicles, independent woman. Good for you, Erica. Jamie says, newer, 2021. Becky says, how about lease? So yeah, we didn't include anything about a lease in our question of the day, but I know that's kind of the position I'm in right now too. I had a situation a couple years ago where my car unexpectedly kind of crashed on me and I had to get a new car very suddenly, and so I decided to lease a car. So I leased a new car because I had a lot of issues with my 2007 Toyota RAV4. So I just kind of didn't want to deal with any of those sort of issues. So I'm like, I'll just lease a new car. And now I am working to pay off my lease, which is due in a month. So I'm trying to figure out what to do from there. Let's see, Tiffany says neither, drive my paid off one. James says never been able to afford a new car. Peter says bought new in July. So a lot of different comments. So you can, again, go to our Facebook page, Up North Live. Scroll down a little bit till you find our question of the day to leave a comment. That's also where you can vote if you click the link. And you can also leave a comment right on this live stream. So I say this every now and then, but if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment right now. It'll show up live and I can read some of your comments. If you're watching on TV on ABC 29 and 8, and you want to maybe pull up your phone and go to Facebook and YouTube, you can also leave a comment that way. But I will continue to take a look at our question of the day results, and we'll take a look at the final results a little later on in the show. But let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have much more on your forecast. We'll bring back in Joe Charlevoix, so stay with us.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Well, Joe, it's finally time to turn off the song No Rain by Blind Melon that we've been playing for a while now, because we finally saw a little bit of rain today across northern Michigan, but we probably won't see any more tomorrow.
No, not tomorrow, but maybe Friday morning.
Oh, okay.
But you'll be sleeping then anyway with our hours that we have
Definitely.
on the show. Yeah, so Friday is going to be an interesting day. We'll start the day with rain, but it'll end nice and pleasant as we look ahead here. But yeah, a little bit of rain out there. Let's start off. That's kind of the weather map tonight. So we did have a cold front pass through, and that is sweeping now into Pennsylvania and New York State with an area of low pressure just north of Ottawa, Canada tonight. And then in Iowa, high pressure is building in, and that usually brings pleasant weather, and that will start building in later tonight. This was the view, though, in Petoskey today. Our Holiday Inn Express and Suites camera, our time lapse, rain early, and then, yeah, a lot of lake effect clouds out there. And again, some occasional showers that we've had at times as well. Let's start with that. Here's a look at radar this evening around northern Michigan. That was our front passing right there. And then you see these showers in the afternoon through the evening hours. And if you look in the last few frames here, look over in Wisconsin. See how it's clearing out? That's heading our way. And that drier weather will gradually work in. A little closer look at radar. Let's zoom in a couple spots here. There we go. And you can see some of these last showers, although we're actually in the kind of diminishing stages of these. But if you're there around Lake City, between there and Houghton Lake, a couple showers, a few spits of rain right in here. You can see that, Norwich Township there. And then back just between Gaylord or Grayling and Kalkaska, a couple showers there along M72. Albert Township, right there, south of Atlanta, a little bit of rain not far from Lewiston. And then just some light spits of rain here and there. There's really not a lot of rain left around northern Michigan. And as far as the airports, what they've actually accumulated, again, we didn't expect much rain. Pellston, almost 3/10 of an inch of rain there. Beaver Island, you've had about a quarter inch, close to a quarter inch of rain in the past 24 hours, which we, again, desperately need. Here's what we expect going forward. So showers will end. We'll wake up tomorrow morning. If you're an early riser, the sun's going to be out. Beautiful start to the day. Dry weather, highs in the upper 50s, a lot of 60s tomorrow. And then here's the next chance for rain, right there. Look at the clock. That's Friday morning. A little wet heading into work and school. But then Friday's one of those interesting days. It'll be cloudy and wet when you wake up. And when the sun goes down, it'll be nice and clear with some sunshine. So Friday looks really nice. Weekend plans, here's a look at that. Mostly sunny, maybe a shower up in the UP on Saturday. 48 to 54, which is close to average for this time of the year as we head into the very latter part of October. Sunday, 50s, partly to mostly cloudy skies, and it looks pretty quiet. Extended forecast. I talked earlier in the show about maybe a warm-up. So you see the next few days. There's Saturday, Sunday, nice weekend. Look at Tuesday and Wednesday. Look at the temperatures. 60s and 70s again back in the forecast. I think that's going to come with some wind, it looks like, too. A warm wind out of the southwest. But as you look ahead there, Maya, we're warming back up again. It's a few days away, but it looks like early to mid part of next week.
And we're almost to November, and we're seeing 70s.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Oh, my gosh. All right. Thanks so much, Joe. We are going to take another quick break, but we'll check in with Sports Director Harrison Beebe in just a few minutes. Of course, the Pistons play tonight, and you'll also preview a couple of big in-state matchups for college football coming up.
Microphone, checkraphone.
Well, the Detroit Pistons kick off their season tonight, and we have a couple of in-state rivalries happening on Saturday for college football. So let's bring in our sports director, Harrison Beebe, for more on that. Harrison, where should we start?
Maya, you clearly want to start with the football because even though you referenced the Pistons, you said kick off. So when normally you might want to say tip off there, but that's okay. We can start with the football after all these. There's pretty big matchups taking place this weekend. We know Michigan State is going to be that primetime game on Big Ten Network on Saturday night, and both teams are 4-3 entering this one, so it feels like a little bit of a pick'em. The Wolverines dominated last year, winning 49-0 at Spartan Stadium on the way to that national championship. But it seems like this one could be a competitive one and a fun one. No doubt fans of both teams, especially Michigan State fans, are looking forward to a chance to at least be competitive with the Wolverines if that plays true. Obviously, the game is at the Big House. But right now the spread is just at 4 for Michigan, and they haven't named a starting quarterback yet, so there's a lot of mystery up in the air there. That could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you want to look at it. And, of course, the Anchor Bone Classic is the big Division II rivalry across the country. It's #1 Grand Valley State hosting #3 Ferris State, and this game has had implications for the GLIAC Conference Championship and the playoff positioning going forward. I know Grand Valley hosted Ferris State last year as a result of winning the game in the regular season. And that's crucial come playoff time. And we know that Ferris State won a national championship a few years back, so they would like to set themselves up nicely, already having one loss on the season, and that would be a big game that would go towards doing that.
And Harrison, going back to the Michigan quarterback talk, it's been really interesting for me seeing this because Jack Tuttle has been their starting quarterback the past couple weeks, and he was Indiana's backup for a while, back when obviously this year Indiana is really good. They're ranked 13th right now, but just a couple years ago, Indiana was not very good with him as a backup. So now seeing him start at Michigan, it's been pretty crazy.
Start at Michigan, but we'll have to see if that's going to hold true. Obviously, 3 different options there. Maybe they'll all 3 play on Saturday. Who knows? And Amaya, real quick, we'll hone in on Pistons-Pacers. That's the opener for the NBA season tonight. Do the Pistons get more than 14 wins? What say you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Do you think the Pistons will be more fun this year?
I think they'd have to be, but, you know, it's still a huge bar for them to clear to get above the 20-30 win threshold mark that they've kind of been stuck at for a while.
Well, I'm excited to see what they have in store for us tonight for their opening game against the Pacers. All right, Harrison, thanks so much for that sports update. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll check back in with our question of the day live results right after this quick break.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Let's take one last look at our question of the day. In the last 5 years, have you opted to buy a new or used car as your family vehicle? We have 182 votes so far, and 51% are saying used. 49% say new. You can still vote. Scan that QR code on your screen right now to vote. But that is all the time we have tonight for Up North Live Unscripted. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope to see you back here tonight on Up North Live News at 11. Take care.